Hello, and welcome back to our channel.
Today, we're diving into the life and legacy of a true giant of economics, a man who transformed the field from a descriptive art into a rigorous science. Paul Samuelson, often called the father of modern economics, his work didn't just fill textbooks, it shaped the world we live in. So, how did one man redefine an entire discipline? Let's find out. Samuelson's journey to the top began at Harvard, where he completed his groundbreaking doctoral dissertation in 1941. This work, later published as Foundations of Economic Analysis, was a revolution. Drawing inspiration from physics, Samuelson proposed a radical new idea that economic behavior could be understood as systems in equilibrium, all governed by the principle of maximization. He argued that instead of trying to guess what's going on inside people's heads, we should focus on their observable actions. This insight, which he called revealed preference, allowed economists to build testable, mathematical models of human choice. Essentially, he turned economics into a quantitative science. After earning his PhD, Samuelson didn't stay at Harvard. He moved to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, partly due to the institutional conservatism and anti-Semitism he encountered at Harvard. At MIT, he found a meritocratic environment where his ideas could flourish. He single-handedly built its economics department into one of the most prestigious in the world, mentoring a new generation of economists, many of whom would go on to win Nobel Prizes themselves. The backdrop for his early career was World War II. The war effort demanded unprecedented economic planning, from resource allocation to rationing. Samuelson joined government boards, applying his mathematical prowess to these immense, real-world problems. This experience cemented his belief that economic theory wasn't just an academic exercise. It had to serve policy and improve people's lives. Of course, his approach wasn't without its critics. Some worried
that his mathematical formalism was stripping economics of its human element.
Others, like the Austrian economists, argued that his equations couldn't possibly capture the true complexity of human choice and uncertainty. But Samuelson's methods gained unstoppable momentum, especially as the post-war boom seemed to validate his models. The debates he ignited would define economics for the next 40 years. Samuelson's influence wasn't just methodological, it was also educational. In 1948, he published Economics, an introductory analysis. This wasn't just another textbook, it was a phenomenon. It took the complex ideas of John Maynard Keynes and distilled them into clear language and simple diagrams. Suddenly, concepts like fiscal and monetary policy became accessible to millions of students. The book became the best-selling economics text in history, translated into dozens of languages, and for generations, it defined what it meant to be economically literate. His theoretical work was equally vast. The Stolper-Samuelson theorem showed how international trade affects the incomes of different groups in society, explaining why tariffs can raise wages for some workers while lowering returns for others. He also tackled the problem of public goods things, like national defense or clean air, that the free market often fails to provide. His analysis laid the groundwork for modern welfare economics, providing a clear rationale for government investment in infrastructure and social services. All these ideas culminated in what became known as the Neoclassical synthesis. This was Samuelson's grand vision, reconciling Keynes's focus on short-term government intervention with the classical economists' belief in long-run market efficiency. The idea was simple but powerful. Governments should use fiscal and monetary policy to smooth out the bumps of the business cycle, but trust markets to allocate resources efficiently over the long haul. This framework became the guiding philosophy for policymakers throughout the 1950s and 60s, a period of remarkable economic growth and stability. By 1970, when he was awarded the very first Nobel Prize in economic sciences, Samuelson's mathematical language had become the universal language of the profession. Samuelson's ideas weren't confined to the ivory tower. They directly shaped major government policies.
One of the clearest examples came during the Kennedy administration.
In 1961, Samuelson led a task force that recommended a significant tax cut to stimulate economic growth and fight unemployment. This Samuelson report became the basis for the Revenue Act of 1964, signed into law by President Lyndon Johnson. The result was one of the strongest economic expansions in American history. GDP grew by 5% annually, and unemployment dropped below 4%. It was a stunning real-world validation of Keynesian stimulus. He also played a key role in shaping the interpretation of the Employment Act of 1946, a landmark law that committed the U.S. government to pursuing maximum employment. As a vocal advocate for active fiscal policy, his work provided the theoretical justification for the Great Society programs of the 1960s. His analysis of public goods helped make the case for massive government investments in education, healthcare, and infrastructure, which led to a dramatic reduction in poverty. But Samuelson was no dogmatist. He was also keenly aware of the dangers of inflation, warning that demand management had its limits. This foresight was crucial, as it anticipated the economic turmoil that would rock the 1970s. Despite his immense success, Samuelson faced a steady stream of criticism. During the Cold War, conservatives attacked his textbook, claiming its Keynesian message was a slippery slope to socialism. On the other side, more radical economists argued that his neoclassical synthesis had watered down Keynes's original, more revolutionary insights about fundamental uncertainty in capitalist economies. The 1970s brought the most difficult challenge to his framework: stagflation. The simultaneous rise of high unemployment and high inflation was something that standard Keynesian models could easily explain. This opened the door for rival theories, most notably Milton Friedman's monetarism, which argued that the money supply, not government spending, was the key driver of the economy. Yet, what set Samuelson apart was his intellectual honesty. He famously said, "Economics is a science of models, not of truths," and he was always willing to adapt his thinking in the face of new evidence. While later, critics, from behavioral economists to ecological economists, would challenge the formalist foundations he laid. They were, in a sense, all playing on the field that Samuelson had built. His work gave economics the structured, mathematical language that made these systematic critiques possible in the first place. So, what is Paul Samuelson's ultimate legacy? Simply put, he professionalized economics. He founded a field of broad philosophies and turned it into a discipline defined by rigorous models and empirical testing. His Nobel Prize in 1970 wasn't for a single discovery, but for elevating the entire scientific tone of economic analysis. At MIT, he created an intellectual dynasty, training generations of leaders who would populate central banks, finance ministries, and top universities around the globe. He also believed in bringing economics to the public, debating his intellectual rival Milton Friedman in the pages of Newsweek, showing that complex ideas could inform everyday conversations. Paul Samuelson passed away in 2009 at the age of 94, but his influence is everywhere. It's in the core principles taught in every introductory economics class. It's in the way governments respond to financial crises, pandemics, and climate change. He was the ultimate economist citizen, blending profound theoretical insight with a practical passion for improving human welfare. He proved that rigor and compassion could go hand in hand, setting a standard for the field that endures to this day. Thank you so much for watching! If you found this exploration of Paul Samuelson's life and work insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the minds that shaped our world. We'll see you in the next video!